Click the first link in the description for the best Askreddit content. Today I fucked up by testing out my product and getting called into the principal's office because of it. Disclaimer, this wasn't today but years ago when I was a middle schooler. I was asked what was the most interesting reason I was called to the principal's office and remembered this event from my past. My school cafeteria had this weird candy and toy gift shop thing that would open up about halfway through the lunch period. There was everything from king-size Snickers to Skittles and even the, at the time, new Nerds rope. Kids loved it, but the school was getting complaints from parents that their kids were coming home without eating proper lunches because they would spend all of their lunch money at the gift shop instead of on real food. The school had a perfect solution for this little problem: raise the prices of everything in the gift shop. King-size Snickers were $2.50 or something stupid expensive like that. The school thought that would solve it, and for the most part it did. Kids stopped wasting their money on candy and were eating at least small lunches before slapping down cold hard cash for their sugar addictions. Saw an opportunity. My parents always took me on shopping trips because they didn't want to leave me at home for hours and hours on end. We lived in the middle of bumfuck all Alaska, and it was an hour drive one way to the store, hour and a half in the winter. We always shopped at Three Bears, our version of Costco, and I saw that they had massive boxes of mixed candy in king sizes. So I used my money from my lawn care and babysitting services to buy as much candy as I could. Took it home and stored it under lock and key. This was mostly so my sugar-addicted little sister couldn't get at it. She would ruin me in a single afternoon if she plundered my stash. I started selling the candy to my friends. I would undercut the school's pricing by nearly half, selling the king-size Snicker for $1.50. It only cost me $0.75, so I was making bank. I used my earnings to buy more exclusive candies like the Nerds rope, Pixie sticks, and the like. I used market research by asking around and seeing what candy was out of stock at the gift shop to choose what candies to invest in. Soon I was raking in enough cash to buy myself a GameCube along with about 6 games and still have money to burn. I was testing one of the new products, the giant pixie stick, when disaster struck. Think it was an honest mistake, but a kid ran past me and struck my elbow while I was lifting the giant sugar-packed straw to my lips. This caused my aim to miss my mouth entirely, with the full dose of pixie powder being dumped into my nasal cavity. I was in agony. I can't remember if I screamed, but I was coughing and sneezing like I caught the plague. I tried to go to the bathroom to wash it out, but making the powder wet only made it worse. The sugar and water combined into a pain plaster cemented onto every single bit of my sinus cavities. At this point there was only 2 options: invent a timed machine and warn myself to not follow this idiotic course of action, or go to the school nurse and hope she can put me out of my misery. The nurse's office was an offshoot of the school's front desk/office area that held the principal's office as well. When I was crying and banging on the nurse's office, the principal opened his door and loudly shouted my full name. This would be a good place to point out that I was the only kid that regularly paid for my lunches for the month in advance with $50s. There were rumors that I was selling porn, drugs, or worse, and the principal was waiting for a good excuse to call me into his office. Put yourself in his shoes. There is a kid with an unreasonable amount of cash assets who is now begging for the nurse while his eyes are bloodshot and he has white powder all up his nose and down his shirt. This man went up one side of me, down the other, and back over just for good measure. The principal was in the midst of dialing my parents or the police. I can't remember because I couldn't quite hear him over the searing pain from all the inside parts of my face, when I held up the empty giant pixie stick straw. The principal slowly lowered the phone back onto the receiver, walked over and sniffed me. Yeah, this full-grown man was sniffing a child that he had been, until just a moment ago, threatening with suspension, jail time, and worse. I can still remember the smallness of his voice when he asked me, "Is that strawberry?" I was sent to the nurse to get my sinuses flushed out with saline and or water until I could either breathe without coughing or sneezing. All suspicions of me being some drug lord were completely forgotten, and my candy empire continued unhindered until I moved to a new school 2 years later. Too long didn't read. I undercut my school by selling candy at lower prices than they did. I tested a new product, a pixie stick, and got it up my nose. Rumors of me being a drug lord made the sight of me with white powder in my nose very suspicious, and I was called into the principal's office. He threatened to call the cops and my parents until he realized I smelled like strawberry flavored sugar. Too long didn't read too long didn't read, got candy powder in nose, yelled at by principal cause looked like drugs. Too long didn't read too long didn't read too long didn't read, sugar nose. Principal bad. Edit, I had plundering my stash when I should have had plundering my stash. She plundered my stash. I think you mean stash. Plundering your stash sounds very stepsister. Why plundering my stash? Ha 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 ha. Wow, I hope you're a business person now, because that was really freaking creative and smart of a kid. Also, one heck of a story. Great story. You must have been buzzing afterwards though. I mean, when I was in 6th form, I thought it would be a good idea to snort a line of sherbet this one time. I'd like to say it was a dare, but it was definitely my idea, didn't have sting, but I was bouncing off the walls on a sugar high and snotted blue for the rest of the day. I could taste colors and hear the scent of strawberries for hours afterward. Every school has a Heisenberg. Today I fucked up by playing a mobile game in the bus. Today I fucked up by playing a mobile video game in the bus. I had some stuff to do in town. I am in the process of changing my car's plate numbers, so I couldn't drive in town, therefore I had to take the bus. It's a 10 minutes drive, so I decided to take out my phone and play Dead by Daylight Mobile. For those who don't know, DBD Mobile is an asymmetrical 4v1 game in which 4 survivors are trying to escape one killer. The killer is supposed to kill them, blah blah blah. Took my phone, got my earphones in, and a match was found. So far so good, but I forgot to plug my earphones in my phone. I did not notice at first. I was playing as the killer, and when I had to hit survivors, their screams could be heard in the entire bus. It was even more awkward when there were female survivors. Everyone was looking at me, and an old woman asked how I am not ashamed of watching porn in public. My eyes got wide as I realized I forgot to plug in my earphones. I spent like 5 minutes trying to explain that it was a phone game and not actually porn. Luckily a guy in the bus knew the game and he sided with me, resulting in everyone finally believing us. I need to be more careful with those earphones in the future. Too long didn't read, had some stuff to do in town, couldn't drive there and had to take the bus. Decided to play a mobile game and I forgot to plug in my earphones. Everyone thought I was watching porn. Nice. Fun game. Do you play on PC too? Is it cross-compatible? Shoot me a PM and we can play some survivors. Yeah, I do play on PC. I am a killer main toe. I main only on the killer side and UE on the survivor side. Cursed Legacy was a golden DLC for me. Haha. Sadly I don't play that much anymore since I started my new job. Last time I played was 3 weeks ago and I don't know when I will be able to play again. Lamau, I kind of had something similar happen to me on the bus where I put my earbuds on and listened to shit on Netflix, and then soon I got up and then realized I was far away from school on the bus and nobody was on the bus, and the bus driver was there, so I went to him and asked him what's going on until I realized I fucking watched Netflix and everyone already got dropped off and I remained in the bus, and then he drove me back and I sat down in shame the whole time in embarrassment. I just sat down and looked down, not even looking at him. Bless that man on the bus. Hopefully he was here. SX. That's too funny, but a lesson learned. Today I fucked up by making a little girl cry. I was walking my dog in the park. My dog has unique features. He's brown and white with a brindle coat, and a perfect, brown circle on top of his head. He tends to attract people when we're out. Nothing unusual. A little girl around the age of 6 to 7 years old walks up to us and asks if she can pet my dog. I'm assuming, mother is with her and I tell her it's fine, he's a well-behaved dog. This little girl starts petting my dog and my dog is rolling around, enjoying the attention. The mother and I are small talking. It was a very nice interaction with very enjoyable people. Well, the little girl giggles and says, he's got a circle on his head. So I jokingly say, well, he used to be a unicorn but I had to cut off the horn to make him a dog. I think nothing of it. 15's lapse. And I look at the girl, she is staring at me with intense fear. Her eyes are huge and welling with water. Before I know it, the girl is screaming and crying. The mother mouths sorry and picks up her flailing daughter. I had no time to react. I was standing there for 15 minutes after they left, dazed and confused, until it dawned on me that I probably shouldn't use that joke anymore. TL/Doctor, I joked about killing a unicorn to a little girl. I mean, the unicorn isn't dead. It's clearly undercover. Maybe for Halloween he can be a unicorn. I'll need to find that girl so I can make amends. Now who tells a story about their special looking dog, without including a picture? I call dog tax. Do not know how to post a photo on Reddit, but I changed my Reddit avatar to him, so feel free to check out the non-mythical creature. That's a yikes. Lamau. Lol, I remember this one time where I made a silly face in front of my niece, forgive me if I spelled that wrong, and she burst out crying.